That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
Fairly alarmed here.
Welcome to MOTN Reviews. This is Masters of the Nerdiverse Reviews, where we take some of cinema's shiniest supernovas and look at some that are not so brightly lit. This bell tower of a podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. I'm, of course, your host, Mike G. And back with me is the review captain. He's the review sergeant. He walks the streets looking like Columbo, reviewing shit. Brian.
Columbo.
You like Columbo. Y'all wrinkled
like
up.
Shaft?
Nah, you gotta be like Columbo, all wrinkled up, dog.
Wrinkled up.
Yeah,
scratching my head.
Yeah, like,
I'm not sure.
It don't make no sense. This movie don't make no sense.
Review. What are we reviewing?
Because Shaft wouldn't review this movie.
Oh, no.
Columbo would, though.
Columbo would review the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, and probably give it the same consensus we're going to have, but I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Don't want to get to the end of the book before we open
the first page.
Open the first page of the book.
How you living, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on the cast to talk a little Man of the Aqua. But life is good. How you doing?
You know, I had to watch the Hydro Sapien, as it were.
The Hydro Sapien. Let me ask you a quick question.
Of course.
Are you more excited to chat about the Hydro Sapien or the rise of the Skywalker?
If you want to just I don't like mixing my, I don't want to mix my chicken and waffles.
Just as the title goes, not the movie, but just the title.
Real quick, in a vacuum, I'll mention this in other media, MOTN, follow us on Twitter, that's Masters of the Nerdiverse, that's M Nerdiverse. But my gut reaction, since you've asked the question,
yes,
Rise of the Skywalker is a horrible name.
Horrible name. Is it worse than Aquaman as a name?
No, because Aquaman has history.
Have another name, or is it just called Aquaman?
It's just Aquaman. It probably has really cool. You know how like in foreign markets they have cool ass names.
Yes.
It probably is called like Ocean Emperor.
Yes.
Rise of the Polynesian warrior or something dope.
I mean, if it was Rise of the Aquaman, would that have made it any different?
No, not for this movie.
Hey,
no.
The Rise of the Skywalker, isn't that Batman too? Didn't we do the Rise
Dark Knight, everybody rises, though.
Everybody rises.
We all rise,
It's a rise.
Dude,
in fact, I have more than a numerous amount of screenplays for any directors that are out there that just have a big hall of people in it, and one man goes, "Rise!"
It's dope, dude.
And they just start.
And they get up. You get hype.
Yeah,
everybody gets hyped, dude. You just want to go punch somebody. That's
absolutely.
That's that Lord of the Rings Urukai shit, dude.
You know what? That's funny. This will not be the last Lord of the Rings reference in today's cast.
Because this Aquaman movie kind of goes everywhere and goes nowhere at the same time.
I think we're already going to be on the same page.
I feel the same way.
I think we were going to.
So let's keep this sort of kosher. Let's keep it in order. Let's do initial. Let's do initial origins. What's your history with this character, Aquaman?
My history with Aquaman is very skin deep. I was more of a namer guy when it came to the aqua superheroes. Yeah. I mean, if this movie was called Namor, I would have been stoked and not as angry when you're like, let's review Aquaman.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Aquaman made $1 billion. That's fact.
Yes.
This movie made $1 billion.
Yes.
Does Marvel make Namor within the next 5 years or 10 years?
Namor. I think Namor is probably going to be 10 years out.
You got to give us some breathing room, though.
I mean,
is Marvel that cocky to just be like, look, we're making Namor?
I mean, unless
forget Aquaman, we got Namor.
Oh, hold on, because aren't there some Namor Spider-Man iconic team up moments?
Well, Namor's mostly a Fantastic Four guy.
Fantastic Four.
But he fights everyone. Namor is a jerk. and he fights everyone. He fought the Hulk. He fights everyone.
Namor isn't a jerk.
Namor is a mix.
Namor is just...
He's a jerk.
He's just doing what he needs to do to
for
protect
Atlantis.
What is his. You know what I mean?
One day Namor is a villain. One day he's an anti-hero, and one day he's a full-blown hero. You don't know what Namor.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
That's what makes him cool.
God, I wish we were talking about Namor.
But let's get back on track. What's your history with the Hydro Sapien?
With the Hydro Sapien. The Hydro Sapien, it's very skin deep, just normal DC, Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got? You got 1980s or 90s Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's about as deep as I ever want to go.
For me... It's not
Mantis.
Black Manta. Black Manta's dope. For me, I always growing up as a kid, I was really big into comics.
Yes. DC
comics in the 90s were not great, but one thing that was there was Aquaman with the beard and the sawed off hand with the hook and the edgy cool Aquaman. But even before that, I've always held a low key respect for Aquaman as a character because people always clowned him and said, oh, he's wearing little tighty whities and he's not a real threat out the water. And it's been a running joke that Aquaman is lame. And I always knew in my heart that no, Aquaman is a problem. Aquaman is probably one of the bigger threats to Earth, if he felt like it, than any other villain. Because the Earth is like, what is it, 75% water or something like that? And he controls all that. It's him. Well, don't go into the water, dog.
Yes.
He is Jaws. Aquaman is the Jaws of the DC universe. Don't go in the water. No hero will do it. No one's that stupid. Not even Superman. He'll get tossed up in the water.
And I agree with you in the fact that Aquaman does have that power, much like, I'm trying to think of the Greek god.
He is Poseidon. He's Poseidon.
He's Poseidon.
Yeah.
So when you talk about wrecking shit,
yeah,
he can wreck some shit.
Yeah.
But the one thing when you talk about iconic Aquaman, which we actually got in here,
a little bit,
it's the bearded
Aquaman
with the crown. And I do want to say, not jumping too far ahead, I'm glad we had that glimpse in here because for me, that was the iconic moment.
Yeah.
Was when you saw that and you're like, no, that's Aquaman. No offense to Jason Momoa. Like, he's a good looking dude.
He's fine.
Whatever. That's fine.
I will say, we're going to go really into this movie, but I will say that after watching this, I'm okay with Jason Momoa being our Aquaman. It does because the movie plays it like the villain Ocean Master is supposed to be what Aquaman's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be flipped, right?
Right.
Like, what's the name of the actor who played Ocean Master? He's in all the Jason Wan movies. Patrick, hold on, I'll tell you right now. But, Patrick Wilson. Yes. He's what Aquaman looks like in the comics. Anglo-Saxon, blonde-haired, well-fit, well-to-do white guy.
Correct.
In that armor. And it kind of plays with that. And that's one thing I do like about this movie is that they made Aquaman a man of color and flipped it on us. You know what I mean? Where I'm supposed to be me. I'm supposed to be the king of Atlantis. And it's like, no, it's Jason Momoa. And going forward, that's who Aquaman is because that's who's on the big screen.
I will tell you that I preferred this Aquaman than the emo Aquaman that we did receive in Justice League. Had this been emo Aquaman for 2 hours, I probably would
have just not.
I would, because that version of Aquaman that they gave us in Justice League was not cool in any way, shape, or form.
The good thing about Jason Momoa is that he has so much charisma.
This dude has range.
Yeah,
like I don't know if anyone's given Jason Momoa, and I'm not saying specifically for Aquaman, but when you think about the Aquaman we got in Justice League compared to Game of Thrones, compared to this Aquaman that we got, the dude shows a tad bit of range in his performance.
He has that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson spark.
Absolutely. Where
he doesn't have to lift. He doesn't have to, for a big guy, he doesn't have to do much heavy lifting.
Absolutely.
For him to sell you. You know what I'm saying? He's very easily he's a marketable human to where he doesn't have the best lines in this film. He's not, like you said, he has range, but he's not overdoing it. He's still Jason Momoa. You know what I mean? He's having a good time. You know what I mean?
How many good lines were in this film?
None. Actually, zero.
Okay, I just wanted to. I wanted
Good
to
question.
follow up on that.
Actually,
Okay.
zero. So
Okay.
to finish up mine, I had a very good idea of Aquaman. Like you said, Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, the comics, the Jeff Johns Aquaman run is very good. I recommend it to anyone. That gave us the origin of the trench, and that gave us emphasis on Ocean Master. And a lot of this film is a lot of Jeff Johns, Jim Lee inspired iconography and storytelling. But let's get into this movie, man.
Well, let me ask you, because you are a man of the comics more than I am, what version of Aquaman is this? Are we taking as like which 90s, 80s, 70s?
I consider
what are we talking?
It's its own thing because Jason Momoa is such his own thing.
What is the story coming from?
This story is coming from mostly the Jeff Johns run, where it emphasizes on the seven kingdoms of the sea. Right?
Okay.
The seven kingdoms of the sea, including Atlantis, run the oceans, and Aquaman was to be the king of them all. That's what the whole Ocean Master storyline was. He was to visit all the existing kingdoms to gain their favor to attack the Earth Realm. I'm calling it Earth Realm because who cares? But Jeff Johns' run was about that. You know how Aquaman has his golden triton that amplifies his power and makes him a god, pretty much. Each kingdom in the comics has their own weapon. There is the golden sword of Kingdom 7. There's the golden helmet of Kingdom 5. Like, they all have their own little thing. And I think with development, this film, if they want to do an Aquaman 2, which they will, because the movie made $1 billion.
Oh my God, Aquaman 2.
They're going to go into that.
Wasn't that called The Trench? Isn't there a name?
Yeah. The Trench is an existing thing.
Well,
because the trench is a part of what I was saying. The trench is part of that Jeff Johns run, where it's like there's just a section that's just part of my French is just fucked. We don't go over there because it's just infinite trenches floating around, and they don't like to talk to people. They just do it.
I know this movie made $1 billion
easy. It made $1 billion easy, Doug.
I do not want to see the trench. I just want to say from the word go, but
that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie is the trench scene.
We'll get there.
But this movie opens up in the most cliche way as possible, the telling of the tale, so to speak, on How I Met Your Mother. This is How I Met Your Mother, the Aquaman version,
or the mermaid drowns and floats up on the riverbank.
It's the infinite story of
Prince Charming meets
the prince. This is It starts as the Little Mermaid. The princess finds her a landman, falls in love. Has a baby where they do some really weird CG de-aging. As we can see Marvel's de-aging versus DC's de-aging. You can see who has the better company. Because the de-aging in Captain Marvel is almost unparalleled. You just stop thinking about that shit. But his father character, his de-aging is not that great, and you can kind of see the line.
I didn't even notice.
See, but that's just me. I overly pay attention to silly stuff like that.
Hey,
and you have the de-aging of Nicole Kidman, who we forget is in this movie because she has so little to do. Nicole Kidman as the Queen of Atlantis.
Yes, we're at the beginning.
The very beginning.
That is correct.
And Aquaman's like,
beginning.
if two ships are adrift at sea, they'll eventually find each other, which is bullshit because that's not how ocean works. But for the sake of the story, it's like how I became Aquaman. This princess fell in love with this Polynesian gentleman who owns a lighthouse. And for 5 years or whatever, they lived in harmony, raising a little having an aqua baby. And they were fine. They were just okay. They were doing it. She was learning how to earth, and he was teaching her and keeping her locked.
Yes.
Some kind of weird Stockholm syndrome thing was going.
She fell in love. It was like, what's the Stephen King?
It's some misery shit.
It's misery, only the good version.
Yeah,
of
she walked up on shore like, I'm all jacked up, and he's like, come, live with me if you want to come, right? So he brought her in the house,
and I just want to say that at the beginning, okay, so we got the Little Mermaid. You'd think you're about to get one version of this movie, so great. So
this is
then,
7 movies. Yeah.
Then, it is about
this
7.
Is about 7 movies in one movie.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We can just go ahead and go from there.
Yeah, man. So,
what do we got next?
So next we have pretty much we're introduced to Arthur, who was the son, who was pretty much the Jason Momoa character. And I believe the next scene, if I remember correctly, is where the human vessel is being boarded by pirates. Is that the next scene, I believe?
Yes.
Where in the present, I forget.
You forget, like so I don't even know what to call them. The stormtroopers? What the hell are they?
They were just pirates, dude. They were
not the pirates, with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, you mean the whole fight scene?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to skip that.
Yeah,
okay.
the Little Mermaid, they fell in love.
They found them at the house.
Yes, who found them? Were they stormtroopers?
The Atlantean military.
Were they wearing
detail.
the G.I. Joe, like
they were in these super armors, dude.
Super armor.
They were in
Thank
these
you.
super armors.
Super armor.
Exosuits.
And they had themselves a little battle. Nicole Kidman got to get in there.
Yeah, what did you think of that action scene?
From the word go, I was glad when the action scene started because I was like, God, I hope I'm not getting the Little Mermaid for 2 hours.
Yeah.
God help me.
Yeah.
Which it really looked like I was about to get for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because it took a minute for that whole 7 or 10 minutes to get through.
To get there.
And then when the fight scene started, I'm like, oh, well, the action looks good. The CG looked good. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Overall, great.
The whole
I'll
360.
Yep, 360 kick, spin, video.
Fair. It was all shot to be kind of like, it wasn't a one shot, it was like a pseudo one shot.
It was like a pseudo one shot.
Because there were still cuts in it.
Yeah.
But they tried their hardest to linger on those scenes as much as possible for that attack scene where she pretty much killed the entire detail that went there. And then she decided, like, as long as I'm here, they're going to find me. So I guess I have to leave you with the baby.
Our second cliche, we're like 15 minutes in.
The second cliche, 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Where she's like, to protect you, I must leave you. I'll see you when I see you. We out, bitches. And she jumps into the ocean.
She says, wait for me every
night.
Come out to this deck every morning at sunrise.
For the rest of your life.
And I'll be here.
I'll eventually show up.
So, for all you listeners
which is
out
the most
there,
depressing thing in the world.
I just want to find out, like, your significant others are like, if they leave, are you walking out to a deck every morning at sunrise to wait for them to see if they show up?
That reminds me of stories of widows who are waiting for their husbands to come back from like World War II, and they would just be sitting on their porch waiting for their man to walk up for years, not knowing if he's dead, not knowing if he's alive. That's for the rest of their lives.
When you put it that way,
they
it got
just
really
sat,
deep, man.
They just sat and wait.
Yeah.
There was no internet. There was nobody that was going to drive up and tell them, yo, your man died.
So you kind
it's the same thing.
You kind of feel for the
dad.
the dad a little bit because this is what he's doing every day.
Because
it's gotta be rough.
Because the next scene is the pirate scene.
Yes.
Where
submarine, and I just want to say, for the record, this is where the very first bit of ridiculousness for me jumps in.
Are you hyped?
Do. All right, pirate scene, submarine. We're in a freaking submarine all of a sudden, which makes sense. It's in the water.
Fine.
The submarine is getting boarded.
How do you
by
do that?
Pirates.
How do you do that? Already
under the water.
How do you do that? How do you get into a submarine when it's not up in? How do you enter a submarine without drawing water in? This is as normal as 2019. Of course, you see the origins of Black Manta, one of my favorite DC villains, because he's one of those villains who just doesn't give a shit. He's Sabretooth. Think of it that way.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else. F Aquaman. That's all I care.
Yeah.
And we're introduced to the most expository bullshit in not the most expository nonsense in the movie, but our first taste. Well, not even that, because the movie started with a 10-minute diatribe about his parents' meeting that he told us. They didn't show it to us anyway. So the dad, it's a dad's, you know what I'm saying? Anyway,
yeah,
I can't dwell on that.
Moving on. There's a lot of moving on. So the dad, fucking Black Manta comes and kills the captain, because that's what you do when you're a pirate. You have to establish dominance. You kill the captain, right? And they use the riff from the Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
With I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
And he's like, you captain the ship. You don't tell me I'm a pirate.
And he kills the guy.
He kills him.
So for some reason, the dude's dad is there. His old ass dad is, I guess, pirating with him, I guess.
They're pirates.
They're super pirates.
They're a family of pirates,
Because
bro.
even before the upgrade, he had like some really high tech. Pirates don't dress like that in real life.
Dude, they had on the G.I. Joe armor.
They had on some G.I. Joe exosuits.
It goes underwater and they put this
Where
stuff
are these brothers getting this suit? Unless they're from Wakanda. Unless they're from Wakanda, where you getting this stuff from?
There you go. They might be from Wakanda.
Whatever. Okay,
oh, wait,
fine.
This is a DC movie.
Oh, I can't just say that, can I? Whatever. So there's some son, you have been a pirate with me your whole life. Yada, 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 yada. The antelope eat the grass. Here's this knife that was passed on to me from your great grandfather, whoop-de-whoop, the seas, and we are as fast as the mantas, and just exposition. I don't want the knife. Give me the knife, please.
Weird time for a knife exchange as well.
You should probably be in and out because you just robbed a Russian vessel.
You're robbing a submarine.
You're on the clock. Because,
not these guys. They're having a family moment.
They're having a family
moment. Absolutely.
So Jason Momoa once again boards this ship underwater because he's Aquaman. He lifts the water.
Yeah, he lifts the ship.
They
used the old Superman lift from Justice League,
which is a good display of strength.
Yeah, it
reminds you how strong Aquaman is.
I could have put that on a poster and hung that up.
It's a great scene.
That's
it just reminds you how powerful Aquaman is in the water.
Yes,
he's just as strong, if not. He's just as strong as Superman.
Yes.
In the water.
Yes.
Base level Superman.
Yes.
So he lifts it out the oil. What's going on? He's like, we're not being boarded. He said some cliche shit. So Aquaman boards. We've been hit. By what? Not a missile, but a man. It's a man missile. It's a man missile.
There's not a good line in this movie.
Not one.
They are freaking terrible.
So, okay. Jason Momoa is so relaxed. He's like, permission to come aboard. He's all smiling and shit. Permission to come aboard. On some Wesley Snipes Passenger 57
and then
shit.
You get that heavy rock.
And then he starts clothesline. This dude just lifted a ship out of the water. Why are you even punching these guys? Are you pulling your punches? You must be, because if you're punching with any strength that you're lifting, they just turn into water. They just turn into red mist.
We go into a WWE moment
where he does his stick.
Yeah.
He does belly to back suplexes, and he does rock bottoms to everybody. Clotheslining. He's like, I'm a badass, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
and I just want to say, because this is like our first shot of Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to mention the whole aquarium scene.
Oh, I hate the aquarium scene. I was trying to skip that.
All right.
But we can't skip it, though.
Yeah, because I was like, this is our first real shock of Aquaman.
I hate the aquarium scene.
I think you know where this cast is going, and we're taking a while to get there.
Okay. We're sipping on this like a fine wine.
And it is not fine wine.
So we get to the cliche baby hero scene.
Yeah, he's getting beat up.
It's usually a DC thing. Where it's like baby Clark, baby Bruce, baby Arthur, and I think it's his son. It's actually Jason Momoa's son.
Oh, is it?
Plays baby Aquaman.
Looks like him.
Yeah, fair enough, right?
That's great.
So the kids are of course picking on him, and for apropos of nothing, unless people just know him unless everyone knows he's from Atlantis, because they're already calling him what a fish boy. It's the fish boy. Like, how does he gain that moniker if they don't just know?
I don't know.
It's the stupidest thing in the world. Okay, I don't want to jump ahead because there's the bar scene, but that happens after the pirate scene.
Yeah.
But Aquaman shows up and he beats up all the gangs, and he's dealing with the pops. He's dealing with the son first, who's completely outclassed because everyone knows Aquaman has super tough skin, where he pretty much can take bullet fire. The dude takes a missile. He takes he takes a missile shell. Pretty much the equivalent of, let's say, like a tank, tank shell, like a rocket. He takes a grenade launcher to the chest and just goes, "Ow!" Yeah. It never pierces his skin. He's just a fucking. I hate the museum. I hate the SeaWorld scene. Anyway, and the dad is like, "Yo, we should probably. I'll kill him. I'll do it. Let's kill the." They already know who he is. Because after the Steppenwolf attack, everyone knows who
Everybody knows who
everyone is.
Which is where...
It's fine with me.
I guess.
He's still like myth, but it's fine with me. Because that had to be on some kind of universal stage. It had to be on a world stage.
Because to get here, we have to talk about this silly Aquaman scene. So the kid... The kid gets all these animals in a room full of people These animals are just like standing behind him,
Yeah.
like a fortress in a room full of people. He's like 6. And
Nobody calls the police. Or
no one does anything.
He doesn't become some paparazzi like superstar.
He just goes about the rest of his life, and a Steppenwolf attack happens, and now people know who this strange Aquaman is.
There is an Aquaman that exists somewhere, and he's they've dubbed him the Aquaman. He didn't make up the name.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is like trying to get through the first part of this movie is just this
hard.
There's a lot of
exposition
going on.
There's a lot of exposition to get to where we need to go.
Absolutely.
So I don't want this to drag too long, but it's gonna go. It has to run its course.
Right.
So Aquaman is fighting the dad and son team, and the dad is super stupid, and Aquaman's like, "Hey, you guys are all beat up because I'm Aquaman. You know, I'm just gonna don't do bad." He does the Goku, don't do mischief again. And he just leaves. But the dad tries to shoot him again and gets himself trapped on the ship. And the son, for some reason, goes, "You have to help him." And Aquaman's like, "You just murdered like 5 people. Screw you guys. Figure it out. Let the sea show you mercy." Which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah.
Because these aren't like troublemakers. These are guys trying to rob a bank. These are murderous pirates.
Yeah,
who just killed in cold blood.
They just killed the submarine.
So screw these guys, right?
For sure.
I'm totally okay with that decision. But the dumbest thing in the world is that the son holds Aquaman responsible for the death of his father.
Well, he could have helped.
But he didn't because his dad just murdered 7 people.
But he could have helped.
He could have, but he didn't.
But he could have.
He did. I don't have to save you. And he flew out the back of the train to let Ra's al Ghul die.
I mean, he's a pirate.
Pirates are so stupid.
He's got to have something to hold against.
Whatever. It's so dumb.
All right.
So Jason Momoa breaks out and lets the ship explode. The ship didn't explode. The sun just kind of got waterlogged a little bit.
Yeah, the dad
exploded himself.
With a grenade.
Because someone's just going to sit there and die with him.
And the son got out and...
Stupid.
Whatever.
So we finally get to the scene where it shows this guy's poor ass father, like 30 years in the future, still going out to that waiting on his wife to come back.
Here. Yeah, he's still going out there.
It's the most depressing thing in the world because it's like, man, she left him hanging hard. Nicole Kidman, but if it was Nicole Kidman, I'd probably be waiting too.
Quite possibly.
So we get to the bar scene where Aquaman and his dad are chopping it up because Aquaman just shows up at the dad's house.
Yeah.
Hey, Pops, how you been?
Hey.
How you been? Want to grab a beer?
Yep.
It's almost like he hasn't seen him in a minute. Hey, Dad, you want to go chill? Let's go chill.
But you know where to find him, and life is gravy.
And you have this weird, like Bryan Singer X-Men moment where there's some dude on the TV screen. Mutants exist. I'm not crazy. There's an Atlantis. I'm not crazy. That's no Atlantis. And there's always that naysayer. And they were like, after the alien invasion again, how can you guys not believe that there's an Aquaman? We literally saw him fighting with the Superman in the Batman, right? This is the conversation that was going on the screen.
On the television,
with
the one guy. I'm sure he has a name.
I don't care. He's actually a character in the comics.
Yeah, I figured as much.
I super don't care. I'm so done with this movie already. So they have the cliche scene where it's the tough bar dudes. Bam Bam Bigelow walks up.
Yeah.
Are you the fish man?
Are you the fish man?
And Aquaman's like, like you guys don't want none of this. You guys don't want this smoke, man.
Right. And Pops is like, do what you gotta do, man.
And Pops is like, whatever, man.
Yeah, bro.
Teach him a lesson. Don't kill him, man.
Yeah.
And they're like, can you take a picture with me? Can you take a picture? Can we take a selfie? It becomes this big joke. And I'm like, I don't care.
And then they go have a good time. The pictures,
and then Jason Momoa's it up.
Yeah.
I almost think that's improv.
I mean, if I met Jason Momoa, that's kind of how I expect my night to go.
To be
like,
I'd
be like, hey man, if I met Jason Momoa in a bar, I'd be like,
in real life,
I'd be like, can I take a picture? And then I imagine drinking a
shots a beer with him and having conversations and having a good ass time.
Yeah, good time.
And then you'll be able to say, man, there was that night I got drunk with Jason Momoa.
Absolutely.
He seems like that chill of a dude.
Right, for sure. That looked like that
salt of the earth. I love
day.
that. As a human, he's the best in the world. But anyway, we get past that scene and for some reason, Mira just shows up at the bar. They find him because apparently everybody knows where he is.
Oh yeah, because we transported back, and now William Dafoe, who, ladies and gentlemen, was a pleasant surprise to me.
He's the best part of the movie, in my opinion, because he's actually acting.
Dafoe's here, and I'm like, oh well, this can't be too terrible if William Dafoe.
Let me make sure. I want to make sure that we're still on the points. So Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got to go back.
Yeah.
Because before Mira shows up, the reason Mira shows up is because we are now in Atlantis. And the Ocean Master, Patrick, is taking over shop. He's like, it's time to do this, man. The submarine came and attacked us.
This is bad because I'm reading like the plot and even like the notes for the plot are skipping things because they're just getting to it.
Yeah, no, I
kind of like okay, Mira shows up and Mira drops the exposition bomb. You have to come back to Atlantis because your twin brother Orm, your little brother Orm's going to take over Atlantis, and it's you. You have to do it. You're the bridge. And he's like, I don't want to hear any of this shit
again. After
Cliche.
you told me this, because
Cliche.
You heard she said the same damn thing at Justice League.
Yeah,
You're
cliche.
You're the king.
You're the chosen one.
Chosen one.
You're the
blah, blah,
chosen
blah.
king.
Yes.
It has
You're
to be
the golden
you.
child.
You're the golden child. It has to be you.
Right.
You're the MacGuffin. We need you.
Right.
And of course, in typical the hero's journey fashion, it's not me. I don't care. Atlantis killed my mother. I don't care. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And Amber Heard as Mira is the most polarizing thing in this film.
I will tell you
Because
that
she acted the worst. In my opinion.
Amber Heard saved this movie for me because it gave me something to do.
I wasn't going to put it that way, but you're absolutely right.
I'm sorry. It just is what it is.
It was something to...
I have a friend who's a big Jason Momoa fan, and I told her, I'm like, next time you're having a bad day, go watch Aquaman, because there's a lot of Jason Momoa with his shirt off.
Yep.
You're not going to feel bad.
Amber
Heard saved this movie for me, honestly, because they put her in a tight thing, and I was just like, oh, for the love of God.
My biggest problem is that her hair was just too red.
Well,
it was unrealistically red. Couldn't she just been a mousy brown? Did she have to be?
I don't want to go too far into this.
I'm sorry, but this is the introduction.
To offend anybody.
No, but this is the
reality.
introduction of the character, though. She's introduced. She just shows up, right? Yeah. And she's like, Arthur.
Was she even in the first scene in Atlantis when all that shit broke down? Or did she just show up?
No, because that's the next scene. She goes back to Atlantis after he says no.
Okay.
And then there's the scene where we're introduced to Orm, who was the Ocean Master played by Patrick Wilson, it looks like he's having a good time because he's just hamming it up. He's hamming it up so much that it looks like he's just having a good time. And I know Patrick Wilson's a good actor because I've seen him in The Conjuring and I've seen him in a bunch of other movies where he does a good bad guy. But in this, he's like, Atlantis!
And then, hold on.
Listen to me.
We switched movies. We went to Gladiator.
No, it's the same thing.
It now
turns film does that.
The film turns into the Gladiator.
Because
all of a sudden, because we're now in Atlantis.
We're in Atlantis, and there's some kind of peace treaty going on between Orm and Dolph Lundgren. And Dolph Lundgren. Who plays?
Is that who that was?
That's Dolph Lundgren.
I didn't even
as
notice.
The king.
Yeah.
As Mira's dad.
There you go. It is.
Yeah,
Dolph
it's Dolph Lundgren, dude.
I didn't even notice.
He was another pleasant surprise of the movie.
Surprise.
So apparently, the submarine Earth ship attacks them out of the blue, and they defeat it. And that's his goal to be like, look, Earthlings aren't giving a fuck, man. Earthlings don't care. We gotta go get him. We gotta go get him. And Dolph Lundgren's like, bet. I've been looking for a reason to fight. All right, Mira. The only problem is that everyone knows your half-blood son is floating around out there somewhere. You probably need to deal with that problem just in case before you start worrying about the 7 seas Earth problems. And he's like, all right, I guess I gotta go fight my brother, I guess. Because everyone knows. It's the weirdest thing. This man has been alive on Earth since as a child, and no one thought to go get him.
Well, I mean, everybody
let him
saw
rock?
him at the aquarium, and I just don't understand why nothing happened after that.
Because apparently Atlantis is Wakanda, right? Has super technologies.
Yes.
Because and it goes to, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead.
It's all getting
it's
a
all
little
mixing.
confused.
It's all getting a little confusing.
I swear to God, the whole Patrick Atlantis scene happens before all of the mirror and all of that because he wrecks shop. And then after that happens, she goes, your brother's gonna take over Atlantis. You need to come back because he's gonna become the Ocean Master and whatever that means.
Yeah.
And Did the clip about him? No, that comes later with Black Manta.
It's so easy to jump ahead of this movie
back.
because there's so much exposition that just runs into each other. So what happened is that in retaliation of this full Earth attack, they throw all the pollution of the oceans back onto the land.
And warships. They threw all our warships and garbage out of the ocean.
And that was the scene where Aquaman's dad almost got injured because he was on the coastline. And it has that giant. It has that typhoon
they brought the
scene.
the typhoon
typhoon
wave
scene,
in.
and Aquaman was like, "I gotta go get him." That's what motivates him. I'm gonna go find my brother, and I'm gonna kick his ass.
Right. He almost killed my father.
So, we get the scene where him and Mira go into the ocean, and it becomes a under the sea moment. It's the under the sea moment where Mira's like, "Hey, we gotta go to get my super ship." Which doesn't make any sense because you guys swim at 1,000 miles per hour when you're underwater. Why do you need a ship?
They're like, you can't get to where we're going.
You can't just. One doesn't simply walk to Mordor.
But
it's pretty much what they're saying.
Well,
one doesn't simply walk to Mordor. Is what they're saying. You can't just show up to Atlantis.
But there was no Mordor to it. There was just they got the ship and then they were in Atlantis.
It was almost like the California Mexican borderline. Mexico borderline. It was like ships are coming in slowly. They gotta check you out. Mm-hmm. There's turrets and all types of crazy stuff. So that not just anybody can walk into Atlantis, because apparently Atlantis is like LA or some shit. Like,
right.
You can't just come through.
No.
And she was like, "Don't worry, I have diplomatic plates. I
have diplomatic immunity.
I have diplomatic immunity. No one's gonna mess with us."
For the love of God.
Stupid. So, it gets dumber.
Jiminy. Oh yeah, it gets way dumber.
Because Aquaman comes through. Aquaman and Mira go to this weird little battleship that has a oxygen bubble built into it. So when they walk into it, it's completely dry.
I must have completely.
There's no one on Earth that can do that unless it's like underwater caves. But that works on a whole different. It's not a battleship that has holes in it. How does that work? Anyway, I'm moving on. So that's where we get introduced to William Dafoe. And he's like, "Hey, Volko, how you been, man? He's the dude who used to chill with me at some point in my life." Because there's not a general introduction to this character. There's not a general introduction between Arthur and Volko. Like, how did that happen? Did Volko just show up to the house one day?
Not until the backstory when he says, I promised your mother that I would
keep an eye on you and teach you the ways.
So we're assuming that Nicole Kidman went back to Atlanta. She got in trouble.
And then Volko was like, "Oh, man."
Volko's like, "Okay.
Keep an eye on my son and keep him hitting." So Volko went and found him. So that's where we get the flashbacks and some of the worst acting in the film. It's the flashbacks between Volko training weird 18-year-old Aquaman, 17, maybe 15-year-old Aquaman, and it's this weird kid.
They're swimming in the ocean.
Do you mean that I can't visit my mom because she's in Atlantis? And do you mean that they killed her? The worst acting in the world, dog. William Dafoe is trying his hardest. Dog. You can see sweat coming off of his head.
William Dafoe carried this movie.
William Dafoe's just not gonna. He's just not gonna not
even
act.
The aged William Dafoe is gonna do his
William
thing,
Dafoe,
bro.
He's struggling.
Do his thing.
William Dafoe was that last ring on, the last thread in the needle, holding on.
He's like,
it was him by himself.
Trailer. Yo, I don't.
Whatever. I'm going to sleep. Wake me up when it's my turn to act. And he's acting circles around whoever this kid is.
Find myself anyway.
And they're doing his training.
Yes, the training
you swim under the water at super speeds, and they're having full conversations. Why can't I hear you under the water? Atlantean voices carry differently, so we can have normal conversations on the water, and it doesn't matter.
Our eyes change. We can see.
We can see in the dark. We can do all types of cool stuff.
Yep. This is where you get the layout of abilities.
We super ocean. We can do whatever we want. You're special for some reason because you could actually communicate telepathically with animals like the king used to, which makes me think maybe there's some kind of genetic reason why the king's daughter, who was his mom, transported it was like a mutant gene because she can't do that shit.
Did we ever actually see Orem, like Nicole Kidman's husband?
Nah, the king was like, no, the king, her husband was the king that disappeared off the face of the earth.
You see,
There's a whole other plot line with that.
I remember that. Like,
There's a
I
whole
was
other plot line
watching
with
this
that.
movie, and I'm like, well, the father isn't the one who, like,
No,
like the real Aquaman.
Nicole is so convoluted. Nicole Kidman's husband was the super king that made Atlantis 100 years ago, or some nonsense. I think.
But where is he?
He banished himself from the lands because he destroyed Atlantis because he got drunk off his own power. Because he tried to manipulate the power of the seas to make super
Oh, that's when they were explaining the
technology of Atlantis.
The technology of Atlantis.
It's like, because Atlantis, they were like 1,000 years ago, we were like above ground and we had flying ships and shit.
And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a lot to this.
This is
because it's so much exposition.
So the Aquaman with the beard who entombed himself.
Yeah,
that is not Nicole Kidman's husband.
It's not?
No.
Then who's the husband?
This is
that's what I thought.
No, dude is like 3,000.
But I thought it was one of those things where it's like Atlanteans don't age.
No, absolutely.
And she's just been the queen.
Absolutely not.
For a billion years.
Did at any point they give me the impression that the old Atlantean, she doesn't even mention him.
Well, maybe she's a descendant.
Like, I'm assuming it's her grandfather or something. Yeah, maybe she's a descendant. Nature.
It's like a Queen Elizabeth kind of thing.
But
so technically if
you're the king and you had a son,
yeah,
you do not.
Well,
close yourself off.
Orm mentioned his dad. He said we have to fast forward a little bit. So the stormtroopers go into the battleship, right? I don't care at this point. The stormtroopers go into the battleship, right? Yeah. And they beat up Aquaman. They get over on him.
Yeah.
And so Aquaman is captured in the most gaudiest super lighthouse ever. It's the White House.
What was the chain scene from?
It was a chain scene from Masters of the Universe. Where He-Man is like, I'm captured. I'm so strong, I'm going to pull these chains and I'm going to pull the dudes. Anyway. So we meet Orm and Orm explaining like, you're stupid. Earthlings have poisoned our seas. Screw the surface dwellers. It's the same song, right?
Yes.
Screw the surface dwellers.
You're taking the wrong side. You're going against your people.
You're a half-blood, dirty, Argonian. You're being racist, elitist nonsense. I'm pure-blood Atlantean.
Isn't an Argonian from Skyrim?
Mm-hmm. Dirty Argonians, though. Dirty blue-blooded Argonians. Somebody will get that reference.
Girl's reference.
Yeah, man. So Aquaman's like, I'm gonna get out these chains and I'm gonna kick your ass. And he's like, why don't we just do this then?
We do this in the Ring of Fire.
We do this in the Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire in front of everybody, right? So
now we get the gladiator.
the gladiator moment.
Yeah.
Where what's his face? William Dafoe's like, yo, this guy has trained his whole life to fight underwater, but to be a warrior. And you're challenged. That's the stupidest thing in the world. You're not ready because you haven't trained enough underwater. I trained you. I know. You're not ready for this fight.
But hold on. I want to stop at this point because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, he hasn't trained underwater for this. What are we on? Like 2.5 hours? Like we're talking longer than this movie is. But
it feels that way.
Didn't he beat Steppenwolf? Didn't he just fight with
Technically,
Batman, isn't he already one of the greatest heroes ever?
It's different, man.
You don't know how to fight underwater, bro.
It's different, man. Okay, I'll put it like this. A, he didn't beat Steppenwolf. Superman beat Steppenwolf. A. Because without Superman, they were getting washed. That's one point. B, the fight is different underwater. Like we're going back to Namor. Namor fought the Hulk underwater, right? The Hulk's the baddest badass there is. Stronger Hulk the madder Hulk get, stronger Hulk get. Not many people can not many people can flex on the Hulk, right? Hulk goes in the water, fights Namor.
I need to read that comic.
It's so good.
So good.
Namor is like, he tells him, like, look, you can't even hear what I'm saying to you, but understand, you don't want to fight me in the water. I am like 500 times more stronger. You're going to get washed. I'm the Hulk. Grr. He runs at him. He one-punch mans him out of the water.
I remember the scene.
Across an ocean knocks his thick ass on the shore. He turns back into Banner, passes out for a day. he needed to take a nap.
Okay.
Superman has the same issue. Like,
Okay.
I know not to mess with him in the water. It's a completely different
So
fight.
you're saying that this dude's brother's just going to be that much better than he is.
In the water.
Even though we saw him, like, lift the submarine out, he's been talking to fish since he was, like, a child.
That doesn't make sense.
He's obviously been in
That
the
doesn't make
water
sense.
for the last 20 freaking years.
Because the question is, can Orm lift the ship out of the water? We don't know. We're never given...
No.
Because my understanding is that Aquaman's strength comes from something else, and that Atlanteans don't have that same level of power.
Yeah, he's a superhero.
He's just a man underwater, right? But Aquaman is like pulling his punches.
So you understand why I'm confused by
it's
all
super
this.
weird.
Okay. All right.
Because in retrospect, Aquaman should have just been like, one punch, just whoop.
It should have been not even... Ring
Just
of
even-
Fire, this thing should have been over before it
Unless,
started.
but the problem is that they could have conveyed that in the choreography of the fight. If Orm was just like,
Norm!
if Orm was just ballerina surrounding him and like just outmaneuvering him and just being more fluid and pretty much just like Tai Chiing him underwater where strength no longer is an issue, I could see, okay, you just got your ass handed to you because you don't know how to fight underwater. Like, no matter how strong you are, this dude is just he's gonna dance around you like a Muhammad Ali, Frazier, and you're gonna get tossed up. You're gonna get lean. So, but they didn't do that. It was all big clash, and it just didn't make any sense. Anyway, Aquaman loses this fight, as he's supposed to do, because this is like every cliche. This is the part of the story where the hero falls. Happens every single time. So, Mira can't have this, and Mira kind of goes in and saves him from the catastrophe and breaks all of their sacred Atlantic law or whatever. And they have themselves a little Star Wars moment where literally laser guns and pew guns underwater, where it's like, okay, this just might as well be space. It doesn't matter. They're having space opera bullshit going on underwater. It doesn't matter. And they're in their weird little getaway van, which is pretty much just like a sand speed. Might as well be a sand speeder at this point.
Well,
it's a sand speeder. It's some weird little doodad underwater ship.
it does look a lot like the ship from not the Phantom. Yeah, the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it was like one of those Naboo ships or something.
With the thing when Qui-Gon.
This is pod racing. They have that, and they escape some kind of way. Where do they end up at that point? It's a big gap. It's a big ass gap because they swim away because the ship falls into lava or something like that.
What ends up happening is that they end up like doing the whole chase scene, and then they fall into the lava because he shoots them. But they don't stay in the lava because they're like, oh well, we got this. So they hop onto this invisible ship like The Empire Strikes Back. Was it The Empire Strikes Back with?
No.
Yes.
They hopped in, no, I know exactly what happened.
What was it?
The ship crashed, and then Aquaman called
a whale.
A humpback whale.
A humpback whale.
And they hid inside its mouth.
They hid inside the mouth of the humpback
and got
whale.
away from the troops because they found a pod of humpback whales. So he called it to help him, and it helped him out. And Aquaman's like, hey, he said he'd do it. And it's like, you just can't control him? It's like, no, I have conversations with them. I'm not their dad. You know, I like that. Whereas like, he doesn't control the animals. He just says, hey guys, help me out.
Yeah, he doesn't even know how he does it.
Yeah, he doesn't know how he does it. It's like, hey, they choose to help him or not. But from the humpback whale, we're transported to them on this airplane.
We now turn into the freaking Mummy.
We turn into the Mummy.
Which
we turn into Indiana Jones.
I was so confused as the Mummy and Indiana Jones thing takes place. This is at the moment where I start swearing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, because it's another. Like, it just became another movie.
What did Mike G do to me?
It just became
Why am I sitting here watching this? What the F is going on?
It just became another movie.
We now have fish people over a desert. Cliche.
Yeah.
Fish
of course.
out of
fish
water.
Out of water.
And now I'm yelling at Mike G because this is now happening to me.
It's another movie.
And this is like only an hour in. It's
only
only an hour in.
But it took so long to get here because there's so much exposition at the beginning to explain how we got here. And they're in street civvies, right? And there's no bags, so I don't know where she hid her little mirror suit, because she wasn't wearing that shit under her clothes, because she was like still kind of like scantily clad.
No, man, they have one in the
and they came out the water in full armor, but then we just don't ask questions. We're on a dirigible ship going towards Hamunaptra, because we got to go find the Book of the Dead from Imhotep, and he may resurrect Anaxamun, so we have to go stop them.
Thank you.
It's stupid. It's super stupid.
It's super stupid. It made no sense whatsoever.
Here's a comic thing. Aquaman can't be out the water for that long.
No!
In the comics, if he dries out, he gets sick. He gets weaker.
In Smallville! What do you mean in the comics? In freaking Smallville, they got this right.
He can't just be out the water like that.
No, he's in the desert.
There's a whole comic there's a whole arc, which is them taking ribbing off. It's Jeff John's arc, where he's just in the desert and he's struggling. He's dying. He's like, I need liquid.
They're not supposed to be in the desert.
So they jump out the trailer scene, redheads, bullshit. Redheads. They jump out and they're walking for what seems like hours in the desert. These two Atlanteans.
I was shaking my head so
It's not supposed to be this way.
Mike G, I don't even
remember
the walking.
They were walking for like hours.
So angry.
It made it seem like they were walking for hours. And it's like, we out here in the middle of the desert, and there's no way, and this is bullshit. And fall, guess what? It's a joke. They just happen to stumble upon this secret thing that no one's ever uncovered.
Yeah, he's
for
like
1,000 years. He's standing on it.
He falls through.
And then from the mummy,
they have the Star Trek like locator thing in their hand.
They have their Dragon Ball. They have the Dragon Ball locator, dude. And they fall into this super dried out Indiana Jones ride, and she's like, Mira's like, we found the sacred fifth sea of the deserters or whatever. And he's like, this is all ultra dead, man. Nobody been here for a minute. But, I forgot. They got the weird MacGuffin, the note from from the Super King. From King Atlanta.
That's what leads
them there.
That's
the reason they're going.
This is the Mummy Indiana Jones thing that's going on.
This A needs to be plugged into B so we can get to C.
Yes.
So
and now they need water.
So they need water
to light the circle thing that you've seen in 1,000 movies.
And here's the
15 times over.
The main thing about Mira is that she's from underwater. She can breathe underwater. But her thing is that she's like a hydromancer. She can control water on different levels. That's her power. She can make weapons out of it. Mira's a badass. Mira's a problem in certain contexts. She can go toe to toe with Wonder Woman in the comics, mind you. So her whole thing is water. He's like, and Jason Momoa was like, we're gonna need water, and we're in the middle of the desert, and she's like, hold still, you big lug. I get some water, and she uses her hydrokinesis to take a single drop of water from his forehead because he's sweating because it's hot, and she takes this one drip of water that powers the entire building. It powers the entire citadel, and he's like, well, I could have just peed on it. Which makes sense. It's perfectly
It does make sense.
I could have just peed on it.
Yeah.
She's like, ew, gross. No, you're a boy. Stop saying boy shit.
So dumb.
So we get this MacGuffin for the next MacGuffin, because we get the hologram emperor vision of the king. This hologram shit. I'm tired of them finding weird ways to make holograms that make no sense.
Orm is now talking to Black Manta. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Because Orm is like, hey, I don't even know how they know each other.
No, I'm about to tell you. We kind of briefed over it, but I wanted to make sure that we got to this point because I was confused because they never brought it up again.
How does he know him?
The ship.
Right.
The pirate ship
that attacked.
Patrick
sent.
They alluded that the Patrick, is he a king? Is that what he is in Atlantis? Yes. Is he the king of?
He's the usurper. Okay. He's like, I'm the pseudo king of Atlantis.
Okay. They made it seem like Orm. He gets on this hologram. He's talking to Black Manta. Okay, I want you to get this because they made it seem like he sent the submarine to attack Atlantis
as part of his big plan.
As part of his big plan, but they never addressed this again in the entire movie whether he had anything to do with this or not. All you see is the random ship, and then he's talking to Black Manta, and you're like,
Oh, you're giving me a tension headache, man.
dude, it's so hard.
Because I'm like, because I know they know of, because Atlantis is still a myth, right? It's not common knowledge. And I get it that these guys are super pirates and they know the oceans, but how do they know Orm? How, Sway? How do they even know him to get the ship to do the sabotage? How do they know? Why would Orm expose himself in all of Atlantis to these pirates? Why? Why, Sway?
They did not cover any of that.
Garbage, dude. So Orm gets the money. He's like, I don't want your money. I want Aquaman's.
The Aquaman.
Whatever. So they leave, and they leave him to his own devices.
Getting there, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. We're like almost an hour in, and we still have so much to cover. Let's try to get through it. So Orm gets the super Black Manta gets the super technology from the Atlantans. You don't know about this shit. This is that good shit. This is that Atlantis shit. With this weaponry in my squadron of elite Delta Force Aquaman, Atlanteans, you should have no problem killing Aquaman at this point. And Black Manta takes it back to his house. Black Manta house, right? And he starts having the Iron Man build montage where he makes the Black Manta armor, which is a cute moment.
Yeah.
Cause it's the actor showing some humanity. Cause he's kind of like, oh, this is creepy.
He just took this Atlantean armor that he's never seen before
and made it his own.
Stripped it. He's like, I'm going to strip this, and I don't know what it does, but I'm going to strip it down.
Makes this guy a Stark level genius.
Stark level.
Because he's reverse engineering alien. It might as well be alien technology.
He's Stark level.
He's Stark level genius because he retroactively created the Manta suit from alien technology and figured out how to use it correctly.
And for as little of a part as he's actually had in this movie,
they're giving this guy way too much clout.
They don't really explain why he has super leveling.
No,
intellect
I just thought he was some shithead pirate.
But all right. Anyway, go on.
Fair enough.
Go on.
Like if they would have just gave him and he painted it black, like they would just say, "Here's the Manta armor."
No, he turned it to shoot lava, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you know how to do that?
I don't know.
He's like the fifth most smartest dude on Earth.
I think they might tell us in the trench.
Shut up. Just shut up. So, God, that just triggered me so hard. How does he know how to do any of this? I'm just saying, how? Like, okay, they never, they're in a normal ass, and then, okay. So the ship he's standing on when he gets the money from doing the dirt is already some alien shit.
Yes.
Like, where'd you get that ship from? In the shape of a manta.
Spawn.
They don't explain any of it.
I don't know.
They're
just super pirates.
He's just ultra smart. He's like Lex Luthor, apocalypse
and
level
must
technology.
have a ton of money.
It must be trillionaires. There must be just infinite money. Because where did he get that from? Atlantis didn't give that to him. Like, why would they just give him a ship like, yo, go out and just do pirate stuff. We may ask you for a favor sometime down the line. It's the stupidest, biggest plot hole in the whole movie.
Well, it's one.
Moving on.
It's one.
So, Aquaman and Mira get the next MacGuffin, go to Italy, right? They go to Italy from the middle of the desert with no aid and no ships. They just walk to Italy, right?
Well, pacing
from Africa,
stage, so it's good.
They walk from Africa to Italy.
They can fly.
They can't fly.
Maybe.
That's the whole point is Aquaman can't fly. He can swim.
Well, they took a plane, so maybe they got another one.
They just jumped out the plane and didn't even land.
All right.
Plot hole number 17.
Anyway.
So they get doesn't matter. They get to Italy. And it's a cute little moment. It's a aerial, part of that world moment where Mira doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Oh, that's right. They're
where
doing
they're
like on a date.
They're on this weird, little courting. They're eating roses. And
I was yelling at you a lot right now.
Because
I was yelling at you a lot.
When does the movie have time to do this? When does the movie have time? We gotta hurry. We're an hour in. We gotta hurry up. So, because I'm tired. So Aquaman figures out, okay, we have to go to the highest point of Mount Vesuvius or wherever they were in Italy.
Yeah, they looked through the little eyepiece, and he saw
this is the direction of the secret.
Which looked like it was 6 miles away, but it wound up being
anybody could have found that shit.
I don't know, half a century away in
that shit was
time.
It's the
They had to get on the boat.
Why would they need a boat if they can just
They have
swim?
to get on a boat to
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, we'll get there. Why does Aquaman need a boat? We'll get there. Okay, because it's the same problem with Dawn of Justice to why Gotham is half a mile away from Metropolis. It's the same problem. Because couldn't have anyone have found this shit over the hundreds of thousands of years if it's just a half a mile out to sea?
If you only needed a quarter to stick in this thing.
Or just anybody who walked. But then she was like, oh no, that's the direction of the trench and the trench kingdom. But then they get hit by Black Manta and his squadron, right? We get that big ass action scene, which is a nice action scene.
Action scene, good.
Well directed.
I'm glad that it was there.
Well
because
directed.
It was needed.
It was neat. It was needed. Yeah. So you have Mira fighting the elite badasses of Atlantis, and you have Aquaman fighting Black Manta, and he does. And one thing I hate about this movie, Brian, is a big pet peeve of mine, is when the villain or the hero does this. Oh man, you just jacked me up. Who are you? I am Black Mantis. I am the Ocean Master. I am the Aquaman. I hate that convention because it's not a natural way to go about it. That's one thing, and I'm not trying to drag Marvel into this, but at least with the naming conventions, they're a little bit more subtle. A little bit more subtle. But I hate the stop everything to say, I am, Swamp Thing. It's the worst. It irks me every single time. And what happens? Black Manta shows up. He hits him with an Omega Beam, and Aquaman takes it, and he gets kind of jacked up about it.
Yeah.
And he does the I am Black Manta, which kind of irked me a little bit because the acting is so bad in this movie.
Terrible.
And the only takeaway from this whole scene is the blood wine Mira scene. I like that. I thought it was kind of smart. Where Mira crashed into the winery, and she noticed that all the wine bottles were liquid. So she has this cool kind of like wink to like James Wan, because we forget James Wan makes horror films. So the one thing I do like about this movie is there's very small parts that are so James Wan that I appreciate. That's one of them, where she's screaming, and there's blood, kind of like this bloodish wine flowing all around her, and it's like, ooh, okay, I get to have a horror movie for 3 seconds, and then it stops, and then Aquaman just beats the holy crap out of Black Manta to the point where he's dead. He might as well be dead, because they do this cool POV shot of Aquaman somehow blocking the beam back into himself, and his helmet blows up, and it's this cool kind of like Iron Man level shot where he's falling down a mountain and it's following with him. It was a good shot, but he's dead. He's a human being. It's that scene right there where you can't see this, audience, but it's a cool scene where the human being should be dead inside this. It's the Civil War Machine issue.
I completely missed that scene.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Completely missed it.
Because the man's dead. The man's dead. I don't care what kind of cushioning or liquid gel suppressors you have in that armor. War Machine should be dead. He fell out of the sky in a metal coffin. Black Man. What's the difference? What's the difference? Oh shit!
Well,
I just triggered somebody. What's the difference? Anyway,
anyway,
they're both black men in armors, I guess.
Hey, War Machine's time is coming.
War Machine's time is coming. Anyway, so probably my favorite scene in the movie is where they have to take this rickety SS Minnow. Some old folks know what I'm talking about. They take the SS Minnow, a boat. Aquaman swims at 1 billion miles per hour. Why do they need a boat?
Because Aquaman's out of it right now.
Oh, he was all jacked up.
Yeah, he's jacked up.
But because he got injured during the fight.
Yeah.
But Mira is no slouch. She can still carry. Why don't they just wait? Or go, or hide, or do something?
Why don't you just grab him and start swimming? I don't know. I have no idea.
This is going to be an explicit episode. I'm going to have to put explicit because I can't stop swearing because this movie is so fucking stupid. So they're on a ship where they get to have another quiet moment. You healed me with leaves, and you healed me with leaves, seaweed, and ancient Atlantean juices. Thank you. He healed like that because Aquaman does have a fast healing factor.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's part of his kit.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
Aquaman has a crazy fast healing factor. He's fine. We're in trench country now. where you start to get a feeling for some James Wan. And this is my favorite scene in the movie because it's so James Wan.
You mean the Pirates of the Caribbean scene?
No, I mean the Conjuring scene. It's a Conjuring. It's a sinister scene where it starts off with it being rainy and dark, right?
Yeah.
And they're in this box, right? They're in the turning part of the ship, and you see one trench. And have a hard time with it. And it's this gross little, kind of scary, but not necessarily too threatening where it may freak out little Timmy in the audience, right? And then you start seeing 20 trench. Then you see 200 trench. Then you see 2,000 trench. And the only thing lighting them is the flare, the red of the flare. And I'm like, Jesus, this is a James Wan horror scene where they're being assaulted at all directions. And it's another 360 fight scene, but it's done with a horror filmmaker's eye. And it's the funnest scene in the movie because it's a siege movie all of a sudden.
Yes,
it's
and
a
then
siege
they
film.
dive down.
Yeah, then they just have to leave the boat because there's literally the sea is trench. That's a cool scene. I will say it's a cool scene because there's literally thousands of trench creatures ascending upon this one little minnow.
Yes,
with only the light and the lightning lighting the scene. Beautiful scene. Like I said, it's my favorite scene of the movie. You know what I mean? It couldn't have worked if it was just all that. I get it.
I was just kind of wondering, like, why they could swim all of a sudden.
Shut up. Shut up.
He had her hand when they were swimming down with the flare.
Yeah, shut up.
They weren't, like, separated.
He's okay now.
So, but why couldn't Mira just have grabbed him and swam?
And snuck into trench country?
Go on.
Anyway, so they're swimming down because the trench are chasing them. And there's this big-ass, like Category 5, like, ocean tornado that's constantly going on. I guess that no one's tripped over. Like, some kind of Bermuda Triangle kind of thing going on. Like, we have to swim into it to escape the trench. But we'll die. Nothing's killed us. Nothing killed us so far. Let's just give it a shot. Mira's like, okay. If she was really worried about her life, there's no way she would have went into that thing. Anyway, they go into they go into the actual trench, right? Which, what it is. They get sucked to the bottom of the ocean and spit out on the other side. And now we're in Voyage to the Bottom. No, what was that one movie with The Rock?
I mean,
where we go to the center of the earth.
The center of the earth.
Now we're
Journey to the center of the earth.
Now we're in Journey of the Center of the Earth because there's dinosaurs and shit now.
Yeah, there's little velociraptors running around, which
my
was
god,
surprising. I was like, is that a dinosaur?
I did the exact same thing.
Is that a dinosaur? Oh. Well, I wasn't expecting that.
I gave myself indigestion because I was eating food, and I was like, "That's not a dinosaur."
Sorry.
Why the shit is there just dinosaurs in a beautiful ass island? Why is there a dinosaur there?
Because they're in the trench now. Anyway, so we get to the trench.
Can you talk for a second? Because I kind of worked myself up.
All right, we get to the trench, and when they get through the trench, they what do they come up? They come out of the water. He's looking for Mira. Mira's being held by this strange figure that looks like Boba Fett.
It's like the fucking Predator.
Like the Predator.
The Predator walks up and finds Mira. And the Predator is none other than Nicole Kidman.
She's been here since
the whole time.
Since they fed her to the trench.
They fed her to the trench because she had Earth baby, and that was against the law.
And so now she's here.
Because
she made it through with a flare, I'm assuming.
She figured that shit out.
It the same way.
She figured it out.
He's like, made it the same way.
How'd you make it here? How'd you get past the trench? I just did it. Don't ask questions. Consume product.
We're in the trench, and we can't leave the trench.
We can't leave because the only way we can leave now is if you're the one true king.
If you're the one true
I've been stuck here for 20 years because I can't leave. The trench keeps spitting me back out.
Yes.
I can't enter it without the command of the entire ocean.
Correct.
Right? So Aquaman meets his mom for the first time, and they have this melodrama. Why didn't you come back? Why'd you leave Dad on that pier for 20 years, wasting his life away? She's like, I can't leave. I super can't leave. Like, I've tried it 100 times. I tried to get the trident. I can't do it. I tried to just leave. I can't do it. I've been stuck here on this island for 20 years by myself, mind you, and I'm not batshit crazy. talking to the dinosaurs and shit. Who the fuck was she talking to? She can't commune with the sea. She would be crazy. If they walked up on her mom and she was eating a fish with blood all over her mouth, growling and screaming, I would be like, that's more realistic. My mom is Pharaoh now.
That was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and she was just Gollum.
Yeah, Gollum.
If they walked up on Nicole Kidman and she was gaunt and skinny and looked like a fucking troll.
She was pretty healthy, man. She was good to go. She
got her hair pressed.
Yeah, she's having a great day.
Straight, dude.
Like, she's like, who's
I would have walked up on his mom and she just couldn't talk anymore. She was like, and she was just like this crazed thing. I would be ultra D for that. My mom, he had to kill his mom. A mercy killing. Because she's just gone.
No, we're just consuming at this stage.
She was fine.
Yeah, she was fine.
She was Michelle Pfeiffer in the quantum realm. She's fine. You're not crazy.
So Jason Momoa decides to go into the
stupid shit number 45.
The dark place.
So what happens is there's a new MacGuffin now because it's MacGuffin to MacGuffin to MacGuffin. So now the mom is like, look, the Trident of infinite power is behind that waterfall, right? This is the super Triton that runs all oceans. It's the super weapon.
The story is true.
The myths are true.
The myths are true.
Of
whatever
stereotype.
It's called.
The super myth where this god weapon was created to run all seas.
And it's being protected by the Kraken.
The problem
I'm just
is,
calling it a Kraken.
It's fine. I was about to call it the Kraken myself.
Okay.
The problem is that the Super King was like, not anybody could just have this. And it's two MacGuffins in the same. Okay, anyway, the problem A is that there's this big ass El Super Beasto in there that I can't defeat. I can't defeat it. It's just too powerful. Every time I try fighting it, I've gotten broke off and had to regroup. I've been fighting this thing for 20 years because I can leave if I can get the Triton, right? But I can't get the Triton because there's an El Super Beasto in there.
Which brings me back to her husband. If that was her husband, I mean, don't you think she would have get the Trident, know like a code, knew where he's
been? Maybe he broke out and didn't tell her.
Like, I just don't buy
and then he told the El Super Beasto, guard this thing with your life.
I mean, after the cast, we can do a little research, find out. Hey, maybe we can rewatch it again and see if there's a little
no.
MOTN rewatches.
No. You're making me sound like a donkey over here.
Anyway, go on, sir.
So, Jason Momoa was like, bet, I'll figure it out. So he goes into this elephant graveyard of fallen. This is the funniest thing ever. So he can talk to creatures, right? And did you know that the voice of the El Super Beasto of the Kraken was actually Julie Andrews?
I was not, no.
Mary Poppins?
Yeah, no, I did not know, and I was not paying attention.
So the El Super Beasto
the Kraken
is talking all shit. She's talking big shit.
Yeah.
She's like, check out the half-blood mutt monster.
Like, she was saying some of the most racist things possible if you were half man, half Atlantean.
How dare you even think to try to grab this thing? You half-blood piece of crap. Those are the bones of all the warriors who were actually worthy. And it's like this super, like, weird, infinite lake of just bones and people with weapons and all types of...
What makes you worthy?
What makes you worthy? And all you see is these big ass, like, skyscraper sized tentacles come out and fuck up Aquaman. And she's not going to let him pass. So Aquaman has a heart to heart. He's like, look, I don't think I'm worthy. It's just, I need this shit to save the earth. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not worthy. I'm above being worthy. And she's like, wait, you can talk to me? Like, she's like, wait, what?
She was pretty shocked.
The last person who communicated with me was the actual king.
Was that dude?
Was that dude over there, the mummy.
Right.
The ocean mummy.
Right.
Not ocean master, ocean mummy.
Ocean mummy.
Write that shit down.
Hey, the mummy.
Copyright it. And she's like, okay, Mr. Fancy Pants. The other MacGuffin is like, even the people who touch the Triton will just die. If you're not, if it's too powerful. If you try to touch the Triton, you're not the one true king. You'll just explode into fucking like fish food. Like, so give it a shot if you want, we'll see. And normally in these scenes, the hero struggles with it. The weight of the power consumes him and he's on one knee.
Nope.
And he's like, I'm struggling and I have to overcome the power of this thing to tame it. No, he just grabs that shit.
No, there was none of that.
And what happens is it works as a Aquaman amplifier because he can already talk to anything like within his area. But now it makes us assume that the moment he grabs it, and gains the power, he is now mentally in tune with every living molecule, every plankton, every freaking shark, everything in the ocean is in tune with him now. And he doesn't have any kind of psychological effect. He's still Jason Momoa.
Yeah, man.
Wouldn't that shit drive you insane?
No, he's got the trident.
If you could hear and be in tune with every living thing in all oceans across the earth, you would think they'll have some kind of mental toll.
No effect at all. He grabbed the trident and then he came out of the water.
He came out the water. He came out in
his Aquaman suit.
In his Aquaman suit, swagged out, poster shot.
Yeah, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Ready to go.
Not affected by this trial. Because what the problem is that it's supposed to be the trials of Perseus, right? This is supposed to be what's the word I'm looking for? It's supposed to be an analogy to the Clash of the Titans.
Okay.
The trials of Perseus.
Okay.
He has to go here to get that, which changes him a little bit.
But there was no actual trial unless you call getting tossed around like 3 times a trial and then like being like, look,
Brian,
I'm not worthy, but I really just need this thing.
Listen, he didn't have that hard of a time.
No.
He had no problems.
There was no trial.
He didn't have to.
Indiana Jones, the penitent man, the penitent man
kneels before God.
He had more
trials.
Trial than Jason Momoa.
He coasted through this whole. There was no moral trials. Jason Momoa was Jason Momoa. He learned nothing from any of this outside of, I guess, being a king's not all that bad.
I'm gonna have fun with this.
This bullshit, dude.
We're almost there. We're almost there. So
moving on.
So
now we're finally cooking. We're finally cooking. So he's Aquaman. He's full on Aquaman now. Suit looks amazing. He looks like $1 million, right? So now we jump back to Orm. Because he has to figure out the fishermen of the Fisherman Squadron.
He's about to launch a full-scale Lord of the Rings attack. All of these creatures, animals, seahorses, whales, sharks, and God knows what else is standing in line to have a battle with this other group of people that have been given like one line. So we
skip something. So Orm, the whole thing is Orm has to make treaties with the existing kingdoms, right? So he goes to the fish kingdom of these fish people. And they look kind of cool. It's practical effects, mind you. They're all in practical effects, which I like. And they're like, you guys are a bunch of bloated philosophers who are afraid of war. And he kills the king of the fishermen. It's like, princess, now that you're the queen, technically, I don't want to have to kill you too, so you probably should just get down or lay down. And if you lay down, you're going to stay down. And she's like, I don't want to die. So it's Orm, Dolph Lundgren's group, and the fish people versus crab people. They have not been introduced yet into the movie.
Not at all.
Walk like men, talk like people. So there's the crab people with their infinite armies and giant, sick-ass, RPG level giant enemy crabs in the back getting it, where you have Orm and his battle sharks and battle octopi
Which I will say, they did get
seahorse.
That right. They did get the battle shark right. It looked
battle shark looked dope.
You know what I mean?
It was a shark with a freaking laser beam on his head.
That was pretty good.
And now the movie is Lord of the Rings, where it's just this full on Two Towers battle where the crab people are fighting the Orm people for just them to kneel and be like, I own your armies now.
Look, man, we talked about Orm
and his motivations.
Right.
Yeah, his motivations.
But the film did not go into any of that. They just skipped it for the sake of pacing, and they're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to just put this Lord of the Rings battle in. So, the Lord of the Rings battle starts, and out of freaking nowhere,
Aquaman comes through.
Which actually I was shocked, because I was confused about why I'm looking at this battle. And I was like, but aren't
Aquaman
you supposed
comes
to fight
through.
Aquaman? I was not expecting Aquaman to just
show up
on this side of the people that he's been around for. He knows no part of the strategy of what Aquaman is supposed to be.
Has nothing to do with either side's motivations or political affiliations.
He has no idea
shows up
where Orm is at this moment in time in any way, shape, or form. They are literally on the other side of the planet, God knows where, and he just shows up in the middle of this battle.
with all of the ocean.
With the entire ocean.
All of the ocean.
All of the
Anything that can... He's controlling it all now. And it's a good scene because it looks tight.
It looks dope. Looks dope.
He's riding a seahorse and he's doing his his telekinesis, his telepathy is going insane. And it's a goosebump inducing. If you're a fan of Aquaman, this is what you've been waiting to see on the screen.
For sure.
It's poster shot, beautiful moment. I'm not going to take anything away from that. My favorite part is where the Kraken actually shows up and gets loose. Because the Kraken was I don't know why they animated it this way, but it looked like it was having a good time. And you see the full Kraken, which is like the size of a Carillion class Star Destroyer. It might as well just be a Star Destroyer underwater.
It's a
thing
Kraken.
is huge. And and when I was watching it, I just got hyped because it got out the water with his little crab heads. I was like, yeah, let's go. The crab dude was hyped, dude. The crab monster was too real.
I
was excited.
I was not excited at this point. I will say that him controlling like the entire like fish world, I was like, well, this is kind of what I was waiting to see.
And
man, I wish we could have got here
45 minutes earlier.
Cleaner, man.
Yeah. It's the meme where it's like, could Aquaman control Cthulhu? That's your answer. Yes. Yeah. If Aquaman could control Cthulhu, apparently. So Aquaman finds Orm amongst a billion fighters, and they have their final battle, which everybody gives them room. No, let them figure it out. This is for the fate of the kingdom. Where in real life, someone would have either sniped out Aquaman or someone would have sniped out Orm, and that just would have been it. This isn't the end of Lethal Weapon where the cops stand there and watch Riggs fight.
I want to say that
Jake Busey,
that is one of
Gary
the
Busey.
most unmemorable fight scenes
in all of comics
I've seen in quite some time. Because I'm like, A, I don't really remember anything that happens in that fight scene. B, it was quick.
You know what? Because superhero movies, they don't do the last battles that well.
No.
They do the introductions very well.
Very well.
Like, think about Winter Soldier. The introduction of the Winter Soldier was amazing. But do you remember the last fight of Winter Soldier? Right?
Kinda.
Like, even
the
only time that's worked is in Infinity War with the last fight of Thanos.
Which was
amazing. Godlike, right? Yeah. But then you have something like the introduction of the Joker was great in The Dark Knight. Do you remember the Joker's last stand in Dark Knight, really? Other than it had two boats and the Joker didn't really fight? It's hard to land that because you can't kill the villain because killing the villain is faux pas now. And it honestly doesn't make sense because you can't line them up for sequels. So you have to immobilize the Ocean Master, which was just a lackluster finish to the film.
When you're ready, we'll talk.
And he just kind of smirks, and they take him off to ocean jail. And everyone's standing around, and Amira gives the most gaudy kind of, Atlantis, this is your new key.
This is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. And then there's some kind of time warp where we go back into exposition. I'm man, but I'm also Aqua. I'm the Aquaman. And it ends with the poster shot of him jumping off the water.
I'm also the Aquaman. What the?
Scene.
What the? I'm also the Aquaman.
I'm a man, but I'm also the Aqua.
Yeah, we know.
I'm Aquaman.
We've known since you were 6.
I get it. You've been Aquaman this whole movie. You just didn't get the suit until you didn't get the full regalia until the end of the movie.
And then post-credit scene.
Fuck it. This damn so and this post-credit scene could last the length of this whole episode. So we get a hard cut to fucking Black Manta on a boat. Not even a boat.
Rowboat?
He's on a plank.
A plank.
A plank of wood.
A plank of wood. There you go.
In the middle of the damn ocean. And these fishermen find him. A, he's dead.
No, he's not.
A, he's dead. The human being with bones and blood fell off the side of Italy and bounced his head off of the coast like 17 times.
Atlantean armor.
Shut up. It was damaged. They find him, and they're like, "You all right, man? You poking him? Are you an alien?" Because I would be like, "Are you an alien?" Oh, are you real?
If I saw a bug man in the
middle of the damn ocean on a plane.
Like, are you an alien?
B, where'd he get the plane from? Because he wasn't on the ship. No ships exploded. Where'd he find the plane from? I have questions.
How'd he get on the plane?
If he was just floating in the ocean,
Yeah,
that'd be way more. And somebody just walked up on him, but then that wouldn't make sense.
No, he's floating in the ocean, and the
Because
plank
of
came
the buoyancy of the
him,
armor.
and he got on the plank, and it was good, and the plank just floated. He didn't.
What's
even
the
know.
probability of that? Anyway,
Yeah.
so apparently, the boat is owned by the television guy who was on the television saying, "Aquaman is real. Aquaman's real.
Atlantis is real.
Atlantis is real." And everybody's like, "You're crazy." So, in 100 years, in 100 billion years, these men would have never met each other. That's improbable, impossible. And they're like, "Okay, what can you tell me about Atlantis, bruh? I can tell you everything about Atlantis, bruh." Scene. And that's where we're left with. We're left with Orm alive in an ocean jail. We're left with Black Manta teaming up with this news guy who's apparently some kind of scientific kook. I know he's in the comics. You guys are going to yell at me about it, but I don't remember the character name. I don't care. Okay. The movie ends with Black Manta alive and fine. He's not brain damaged from falling off a damn cliff, wearing experimental headgear.
No, he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not even ashy from being dehydrated from
Setting
being out
it
in the
up
ocean
for
from
the
exposure.
trench, bro.
Huh?
Setting it up for the trench.
This is already explicit, right? Because I've been cussing up a storm.
We have not been kind to Aquaman.
Fuck the trench, dude. They're good for a moment. They're good for a fucking moment. They're not meant like that.
Look, here's the thing.
Would you want a Hydra movie?
Final thoughts? Can I?
Let's go to final thoughts.
Okay.
Let's just roll in final thoughts.
Because I mean, I don't know how long this is going, but
We're at an hour and 30 minutes on the dot. Feels like 3 days, right?
oh, love. I can't.
I'm
believe
Aquaman.
I could still rail this movie for another hour, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know. But my final thoughts about this movie. Here's the thing. I understand that I'm 40.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids need a movie too.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? The kids get a movie.
Fine.
That's fine.
Fine.
It's pretty, explosions. It doesn't
Fine.
make a lot of sense. The kids got a movie, and I understand that the kids need a movie.
That's fine.
This movie had no business making $1 billion.
No business making $1 billion.
This movie has no
How?
business making $1 billion and being, at this moment, being next to Wonder Woman, the best thing that DC has produced
Ever.
in the general fan
Since Batman Returns.
going.
Since the
community
Dark Knight.
believes.
Since the Dark Knight.
This
I'll say that. Since the Dark Knight.
it was a cumulation of 7 or 8 different films. And I'm going to bring up James Wan. I'm not a big horror guy, as you know.
Yeah.
I went to go look at Amber Heard's IMDb because I shot you an email after I watched this about another MOTN thing, and I was just using her because I knew she had been around for a while.
Yeah, of course.
And I looked on IMDb, and I saw The Trench, James Wan.
Yeah, he wants to do it.
Oh, shit. James Wan did this?
James Wan did this film.
Like, there are so little cool James Wan type moments in this film. I completely freaking forgot that he had anything to do with this film.
And I'll go into my final thoughts, and I'll segue off what you're talking about. James Wan. I am a horror guy. Yeah. I respect and love his films like Annabelle, The Conjuring, Sinister. There's another really big one that I'm missing out that people.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah,
there's like 2 or 3.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. The guy is a really good director. He has an eye for direction. So the Trent scene, the Mirror Blood scene, these little glimpses of James Wan of what he wants, what he's good at, are in this film. And I know I've railed this film pretty bad, but in essence, it's not a horrible film. It's not the worst thing I've seen.
It's not.
But you know what it is, Brian? Remember The Phantom with Billy Zane?
Yes.
Not right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Remember The Shadow with Alec Baldwin? Right? There was an era of superhero movies that had nothing to do with Marvel, nothing to do with DC. They weren't great. They had plots very similar to this movie, but they were still good.
This movie was made for bubblegum and mass consumption, and it made $1 billion. So it got what it put out.
Yeah.
None of us thought Aquaman was going to make $1 billion.
Like, in retrospect, I could watch this again and not die. Like, in retrospect.
There is no way in heck I want to watch this again.
But,
simply because of it doesn't make sense in the scheme of Aquaman to me.
I always had an idea of what Aquaman was. Aquaman is a stern king of Atlantis who will work with the Justice League for the betterment of the world. Because he understands that he can't just be... Sometimes you just can't be in Atlantis and say whatever's going on the surface don't matter to me.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. So you have to be part of a team when there's these intergalactic issues. This Aquaman is not that. He's not that yet. You know what I mean?
Yet.
Yet.
I'll give you that.
So who knows where this character development will go in future films and future direction? Because we don't know what the hell DC's doing right now. There's no end game, funny enough, for their content right now.
No,
it's all very open.
I can tell you I don't want to see the trench, and I will tell you that Jason Momoa as Aquaman
I'm okay with it.
was fine.
Fine. But it's not $1 billion movie.
He was fine.
It's not $1 billion movie. How did it do it? It's that.
I feel very much how I felt after Ben Affleck in Batman. You were just kind of like, man, that
there's
didn't really hit the mark.
That hurts
me. It didn't
me.
scratch that itch.
You know what?
Like, man,
it's because
this is a great fit.
And it only really happens in superhero movies. It's the potential of greatness. Like Ben Affleck had potential to be a great Batman.
He's a fantastic Bruce Wayne.
He's a fantastic Bruce Wayne. The guy can act. He had the look. There's a lot of potential there. But because of the direction that Zack Snyder took that franchise, it was doomed to fail. Jason Momoa has great potential as Aquaman. He can do Khal Drogo. There was no jokes with Drogo.
No, dude.
There's no jokes with him. He was a stern horse king.
Drago goes down as one of the badass characters in television.
In my opinion, Henry Cavill is Superman. He's earned that with me. I'm okay with Henry Cavill being Superman for a minute. I'm fine with that. But the problem is that, okay, it's destined to be an Aquaman 2 sometime down the line because it made $1 billion damn.
Right. Of course it's
like you mentioned. I relate to your sentiment. I don't need a trench movie. You know?
And this is what I'm saying.
You know?
They're like The Trench. And I'm like,
I don't care. Okay?
Let's not do that.
Let's not go in that direction.
Another Aquaman movie, Justice League, great.
Fine. It's all about priorities. It's like DC, and I don't want to make this the end of this podcast because it's about Aquaman in a bubble, right?
Yes.
This film. But what I will say is that DC doesn't have their priorities when it comes to the importance of these characters. There's no one, like, the cool thing about Marvel Studios is everyone's on the same page at Marvel Studios, right? Kevin Feige is a Marvel nerd at the end of the day. If you hear this man talk, he eats and breathes this shit. So he understands. He knows how to, the beautifulness about Kevin Feige is that he's a nerd and he understands what's important, but he also knows how to talk to the businessmen in the boardrooms for them to understand
what the heck's going on
and back whatever the hell he wants to say. Because don't get it twisted. Disney would ruin the Marvel universe if there was no one there.
Seriously, bro. Like,
to be like, relax. Let me handle this.
Pick one. We have instances of just companies that do this with films all the time.
And the problem is that Warner Brothers is not hearing anything Jeff Johns has to say. Because Jeff Johns was supposed to be that guy. But Jeff Johns doesn't have the pull and the swag that Kevin Feige has. So they're like, all right, Jeff, whatever. We're going to make money. We know how to make money. We're Warner Brothers. We're not going to make this closer to the comic. We're going to make it goofy, and we're going to have Octopus playing the drums and whatever the fuck we want to do. Whereas Kevin Feige is like, look, guys, let me do this shit, and I will bring you money. And it's worked because Kevin Feige knows how to walk that line. There's no one in the leadership of Warner Brothers that can walk that line. And honestly, there hasn't been a person like Kevin Feige before or since. But this is not about him. This is about Aquaman. And this is about a film that we kind of was rough on. But at the end of the day, against all superhero movies, from 0 to 5, what do you rate Aquaman by James Wan?
I'm going to give it a 2. It's fine.
Woo!
It's fine.
That's low.
But I'm not speaking as a superhero film. I expect my films to be put together better than this. And as we said, there was not a good line in here.
Nope.
There was a ton of cliches.
Nope.
I got 7 different movies that I've seen before in this one film. And as far as staying true to the lore, Aquaman was in a freaking desert jumping out of a plane.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 2, man.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm a comic book nerd. Been one since I was a kid. I know all about Aquaman. I could talk Aquaman for hours. There's tons of storylines and how he lost his hand and the Aqua hand, and I know a lot about Aquaman, right? And I could nitpick this movie to death over lore versus what's on the screen, but I'm not going to do that because that's the easy way to give this a 1.5. That's for me. I can't do that. So this movie, where it stands among the pantheon of comic book films and among the DC slate, I'm going to give it a 3. It's okay. It's not. It didn't. Okay. Here's the thing. Dawn of Justice made me upset. It made me like teary eyed upset for months. I was a vitriolic bastard about that movie because it made me so mad because I love Batman and Superman so much. This didn't do that.
I had less issues with Dawn of Justice than I do with Aquaman.
I'm not going to get started on Dawn of Justice because it makes me mad.
Yeah, we don't have to go there.
We're not going to go down there. That's your opinion, and I respect it.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I have less issues with that as a film than I do this.
Like, at the end of the day, Aquaman did not disrespect the character, in my opinion. It revigorated the character, made it something different.
That's for sure.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You think Star-Lord was not the same Star-Lord before Chris Pratt got his hands on him?
To be fair,
I'm okay with that.
Not a big Chris Pratt Star-Lord fan, but that's
It's fine.
cool. It's cool. He's fun.
This is
He's
Aquaman.
like a fun guy.
This is Aquaman for this
He's
generation.
fun. He's a fun guy. He likes to be at the
So
bar.
there were some scenes that I liked. There was the Trent scene. There was, the Trent scene. And that's it.
They thoroughly disrespected Black Manta.
Well, yeah, that's because they didn't need him in this movie. Man, we're getting long in the tooth. It's Spider-Man 3 problem, where Aquaman could have had his Black Manta could have had his own movie. Black Manta could have been his own movie. Okay?
Yeah.
As
soon as you say that, I go back to, I'm thinking, would I want to watch a movie that opened with a submarine getting boarded underneath?
Okay.
The answer to that is like,
think of it this way. Would you want a movie that had Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus in the same film?
Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus in the same film?
Both, two of Spider-Man's greatest villains.
In the same film?
In the same film at the same time.
If it was like a 3.5 hour long film with
Maybe.
like good plot and story,
Maybe, right?
that thing would have to be fleshed out.
That's the problem. Is that Aquaman doesn't have a deep bench when it comes to his villains. The two biggest villains Aquaman has ever had was Ocean Master and Black Manta.
And you put them both in
You put them both, you shot both of them in the foot because you took away from both. Ocean Master could have carried this movie by himself. He's that big of a problem.
Probably should have.
Black Manta could have carried this movie by himself. It would have grounded him more with Earthlings. And you could have had Aqualad, who is the son of Black Manta. But that's a whole other story. So let's end the podcast here. I will give it a 3. You gave it a 1.5.
I'll give it 2. I give it
A
2.
two. All right.
It's fine.
That's where we're sitting with this movie,
Watch
guys.
it. Enjoy it.
Watch it. Enjoy it. Let us know what you think.
Not me.
Where can we find you, Brian?
You can find me at Brian J. Wash, and you can find me on eBay at Brian Washington.
Get his stuff, man. He may have some Aquaman paraphernalia. Maybe. He has a ton of stuff. It's a lot of stuff.
Maybe.
And we can actually go find us at mastersofthenerdiverse.com. And where you would find old episodes of our reviews. Me and Brian did an excellent review of Mortal Kombat, which I recommend to everyone. It's one of my favorite moments. But we do movie reviews here. We also do our weekly show where we talk about news that comes out for nerd-related things. And you can check us out on Twitter, which is at mnerdiverse, where we have polls. We talk with the community. We comment on new news. We have a general good time. So if you'd like to support this channel and support new episodes like this, please like our comment. Please like our content, rather. You can always comment on us. Let us know what you think. If you think this was a sucky episode, I thought it was amazing, let us know. I would love to hear from either way. Also, please, I beg of you with hands folded to go onto Apple Podcast and give us a star rating. Maybe 0, maybe 5. I just want to hear what you have to say. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to anywhere where podcasts are held. I've, of course, been your host, Mike G, and I thank Brian for being on our show today. And I will always ask you to look towards the skies. Look towards the skis.